Welcome to this training session, where we will be looking at HelmutCO, the module that lets you access the HelmutCO database. We also refer to CO as Cosmo. As HelmutCO needs to keep track of assets used in projects, sequences, and jobs, we decided to implement a database inside the HelmutCO backend. This will also allow us to manipulate Adobe projects outside of the actual Adobe application, hold and exchange metadata with other applications, and know exactly when an asset is no longer in use within any active project and make it a candidate for deletion or archiving. The basic layout in CO is comparable with that of other Helmut modules. Some menu items are global and will be available in all modules, such as users, profiles, languages, streams, and license. For an explanation of these items, please refer to the Helmut FX training video. The dashboard inside Helmut Cosmo has the exact same layout and information as shown in HelmutCO. When logged in as a user, you will see just the jobs that belong to the group or groups you are a member of. When logged in as an administrator, you will be able to see all the active and recent jobs throughout the whole system. In the HelmutCO panel extension inside Premiere, After Effects or Audition, only the jobs linked to the current project are shown. This will be explained in a separate video, showing the panel extension and its functions. For an explanation of the dashboard in Helmut Cosmo, please watch the HelmutCO training video. The Projects view will show the different projects stored inside HelmutCO, similar to what we have seen in Helmut FX. There is an additional column called Size, which shows you the cumulated size of all assets associated with that particular project. When clicking on the project name inside the name column, you will be able to see inside the actual project, as it has been stored inside the Helmut Cosmo database. You will be able to see the different bins inside the Adobe project, the sequences and the associated assets. The MIME type will tell you what kind of object has been detected. The Size column will show the size of a particular file in this list. The file size can only be determined if the server has access to these files to inspect these. If the server is not able to access these files, the icon in the online column will be a thumbs down in red. Please bear in mind, it is not strictly required that the Helmut server has access to all storages and all files, at least not for its basic operations. The column breadcrumb shows you the information on the partial path, where the item is stored inside the project structure, always starting at the project root level. You are able to add bins and assets directly into the project through the Cosmo page. You will find the appropriate buttons Create Folder and Upload Assets on the top right corner of the screen. When clicking the button Create Folder, you are prompted to fill in the name of the folder you want to create inside the project. The folder will be visible in your project view after pressing OK. Please note, we are actually creating bins and not real folders on the file system. By clicking the Upload Assets button, a new window will open. There are a few ways of uploading assets, one, by folder, or by providing a URL to media you would like to import. This method is very useful when you need to use footage from the web inside your project, like YouTube or Vimeo. You will be able to choose a profile for this specific upload. Depending on how your profile was set up, you could now incorporate metadata fields, which users need to fill in before uploading their assets. There is also a button on the project's page, which is named Import Assets. Clicking this button will also open a new window, and lets the user select files or folders to import. The difference between uploading and importing is, when uploading, the file will be placed in the temporary upload directory, which we have set in the preferences. If you decide to import a file, the file will not be moved from its original location, but will be processed from that location. The project page also shows you how many times a specific asset has been used in a sequence. Even if an asset is part of a project, it does not mean it is actually being used in a sequence within that project. When you add bins or assets to a project using Cosmo, these changes may not be reflected in the Adobe project immediately. Therefore, an entry may show up in this window as being unsynced. When this project is opened inside the Adobe application through Helmut, the Helmut Adobe panel will sync the Adobe project and the status of the entries will be set to synced. Clicking on an empty space next to the name of an entry will reveal an overlay window, where additional information on this object, such as metadata or path, can be seen. The big advantage of Cosmo is the ability to render a sequence from an Adobe project without triggering the job from within Adobe Premiere or After Effects. To do this, an export workflow is set up, which can then be called from the Actions button. As with the Profiles section under HelmutCO, you can define specific profiles within IO. This is done in the same way as shown in the HelmutCO training video. When adding a profile, the types to choose from are web_export, web_upload, and web_import for Cosmo. Web export is going to be used for exporting sequences or assets from Cosmo, Web upload is used for uploading assets and web import is used when assets are imported. The difference between uploading and importing was covered earlier in this session. Although most of the preferences seen in this module are the same as in Helmut FX and HelmutIO, there are two additional fields in the Preferences pane. Upload directory defines the location where uploaded files will be stored when using the web uploader inside Cosmo. Should you prefer to define a temporary location, where uploaded files will sit until these will be processed further, you can do so in the temporary upload directory setting. Please note, you can use variables within the path definition, as shown in this example. The section metadata behaves in the same way as within the Helmut FX and IO modules. The preferences, languages, streams and license sections behave the same as described in the Helmut FX training video. If you need information about any of these sections, please refer to the Helmut FX video.